On the screen, Dino was shown. Dino looked somewhat absent-minded and unmotivated. Ramiris was fighting against Dino's unchanged appearance. I'm going to get back at you for what you did to me last time. Prepare yourself, Dino-chan. Ramiris rants about it, even though he can't hear her. So, what is Dino's information? Individual is Dino, a member of the Octagram, also known as the Sleeping Ruler. The operator explains what everyone knows without hesitation. Then, the existence value of Dino is revealed in detail. The existence value is 2,260,000, and the mythical grade sword on his back is 2,200,000, which is quite impressive. The total value is 4,460,000. He's completely unmotivated, says Ramiris. What's your basis for that? Benimaru asked her, though he thought she was right. A woman's hunch, yes. Everyone let it go, and the air was filled with a sense of blankness. The last person to check was Vega, who was regarded as the biggest threat. Everyone focused their eyes on the numbers displayed on the monitor. 17,370,000, it's a monster. Benimaru muttered on behalf of everyone. Diablo was the only one in the room who kept smiling. If you want, I can come over and take care of him. Diablo asks with a deepening smile. Benimaru hesitated for a moment before replying. No, that's not a good idea, he replied. Benimaru hesitated for a moment before replying. He explained the reason before he was asked. It's his power, but there are still a lot of unknowns. He escaped once from Tensura, so we need to be very careful. With a firm determination to finish him off this time, Benimaru told us to wait for the right moment. If he did not at least separate himself from Mai, he would be able to escape easily. To avoid such a situation, he said, they need to be tactful in dealing with Vega. Diablo agreed with this and obeyed. When everyone was satisfied, Ramiris opened her mouth. Besides, that Vega guy seems to be doing something wrong. He was talking about eating the labyrinth as mentioned in the conversation with Dino, wasn't he? Benimaru said, and Trainee, who was listening to the conversation beside him, interrupted. Is it possible? What? Of course, it's impossible. Ramiris answered nonchalantly. They all thought so, too. But Ramiris's explanation did not end there. But I guess we can't be too careful, she continued. I was curious about it because it was giving me the creeps, so I checked it out, and it's really been feeding on the labyrinth. Ramiris said that Vega's magical bacteria were trying to cover the labyrinth walls. The labyrinth itself is an imaginary substance, neither organic nor inorganic. It is impossible for bacteria, which can only affect organic matter, to harm the labyrinth, but Vega is not giving up on the challenge. It seems to lose its control when the level of the labyrinth is changed, and it seems to have understood that. Vega loses control over the bacteria if it is not in a continuous space. And yet, they keep challenging it by moving from one level to another. If that doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense at all. Actually, the weaker monsters in that hierarchy get eaten, and it's like they're slowly building up their power, and it's kind of weird. That's another thing. Benimaru groaned. It was a good thing that Gozer and Mezer were evacuated. Perhaps they thought so, too, as they looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. So, have you finished taking samples of the isolated bacteria? Diablo asked, and Ramiris nodded. Of course we have. She boasted proudly and had Beretta bring in a beaker-like container. Diablo took some of the bacteria and tried to destroy it. Benimaru, copying him, tried to burn them with his own fire. As Diablo said, it seemed to be easier to kill than he had expected, which was a relief. It seems that once they are out of your control, their vitality is not that high. Yes. But just to be safe, I think it would be better to destroy them all. Vega's growth rate is astonishing. Since there is no way to know what might cause it to mutate, it is always better to play it safe. In fact, Vega alone was fluctuating in abundance, albeit slightly. If they do not take care of it now, it may become a serious threat in the future. Having shared these results with the group, they naturally decided on a policy. As soon as Mai and Vega are isolated, Vega is to be eliminated for the sake of the future. The guardian of the 60th level, but in Gadra's absence, the demon, Colossus. It is a violent device that unleashes an overwhelming force of destruction when ordered to eliminate intruders. It has been modified by Gadra and is now equipped with various weapons. The viciousness of these weapons was beyond the control of ordinary adventurers. However, in the face of Dino and the others, their power could only serve as a stumbling block. You're making me nervous, you know. It's so strong, this thing. I mean, why are they disappearing in particles of light? I don't think so, but this golem isn't going to come back to life, is it? Dino complains, and Pico and Gracia follow him. It had become a familiar scene by now. Gracia's words were denied by Mai, who was the picture of seriousness. Of course not. This is a golem, isn't it? They all agree with her. However, they cannot feel secure in this labyrinth, and Dino is the one who understands this the most. So he proudly points it out. You're sweet, aren't you? Anything is possible in this labyrinth, right? He said with a smug look on my face, but Mai just gave him a cold look. Well, even if they come back, they wouldn't be that much of a threat. Gracia interceded in such a way, and Mai agreed with her, saying, if you think it's too much trouble, then I agree with you. Dino, too, understands that what she said is not right. However, he would like to say out loud what is really wrong in this labyrinth. As a matter of course, Dino thinks that it is unreasonable for an artificial golem to regenerate. But, when he remembered Ramiris' evil smile, he was afraid that he could not deny it. She might be able to do it. Dino remembered that he had done such a study before. Dino has never heard of any success, but he can't help feeling uneasy when he remembers the people in the research facility, which is like a den of demons. Led by the most dangerous slime, Gadra, blood-sucking demon, Cajun, his dear boss Festa, and many others whose heads seem to be unscrewed, the research is progressing day by day. It is no wonder that they have already been put to practical use. Ramiris is also one of the dangerous ones. She has no power to be a threat, but her brain is clearly dangerous. Although everyone is deceived by her appearance and behavior, Ramiris is quite intelligent. That's why this labyrinth was transformed into an impregnable fortress in a short period of time. Seriously, can we go home now? Dino's whining is understandable. And Dino's fears prove to be true. It's time to start. Today we welcome you with a full course of golem. Please enjoy. Such an announcement was made in the voice of Ramiris, who was extremely cheerful. What followed was a nightmare. Laser beams flying around them, lava flows like a burning furnace turned upside down, missiles following them all the way, interference and destruction by monstrous sound waves. The end result was a hail of unquenchable fire-thermitic plasma. Damn you, Ramiris. Ramiris is having a good time. Dino was furious. He cried tears of blood. It was natural for him to feel that way, since he had been used as a test subject for the new weapon, and he wanted to ask them to stop. A direct hit does not kill you, nor does it wear you down too much. Still, it is a painful experience, and if you keep on doing it, you will get exhausted in your own way. There is no such convenient thing as a barrier that can handle all kinds of effects, and since Rimuru is well aware of this, there is no reason why this trap should be ineffective. Besides, it is the power of Ramiris that makes Rimuru's idea feasible. Why is there a blast furnace inside the labyrinth? The scene that would have been impossible under normal circumstances was easily realized by Ramiris' intervention. It was and still is, right in front of their eyes. It's back. What the hell? What's going on? Pico and Gracia shouted at the same time. I mean, Ramiris should have had enough of this. A beat later, Dino complained. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this. The serious Mai retracts her statement and apologizes. I had a bad feeling when I heard that a golem was going to greet us, but it turned out to be right. So that's what happened, Dino thought. The golem, which had disappeared into particles, came back as good as new. Not only that, the number of them had increased. Ramiris had introduced new models and prototypes without hesitation. You're harassing me, Ramiris. They exclaimed, and Dino and his colleagues devoted all their energy to intercepting them. Within Ramiris' domain, her creatures are endowed with immortality. When this was applied even to inorganic golems, the threat level was unimaginable. I realized for the first time after we had confronted each other, that Ramiris' intrinsic skill, labyrinth creation, is a kind of power of unreasonableness. Dino felt unbelievable that Ramiris, which has such power, had been neglected for a long time. Hey, they finally calmed down. Yeah. As a matter of course, when supplies are depleted, the attacks will stop. Dino let out a sigh of relief, and Gracia nodded her head. They had been fighting for 3 hours straight, but there was no sign of the golem coming back to life. Missiles and bullets seemed to be impossible to regenerate, even with Ramiris' power. If it were possible, it would be easy to create an infinite engine, and this is a natural result. Dino's plan to make an endless engine was successful. I'm really tired. I mean, if Mai had made us jump out of the way of the power unit, we might have had to fight for a long time. Thanks to Dino's sense precise instructions. Dino's point was precisely to separate the power section of the golem, and transfer it to the outside of the labyrinth. The spear core, which is the golem's power reactor, can generate an inexhaustible amount of energy, as long as it has a magicule. If the situation had continued as it was, as Pico said, they would have had to fight endlessly. It is because of the strong spatial domination ability of Mai that the strategy was successful. Thanks to this intense joint battle, Mai, Dino, and the others have succeeded in getting to know each other. Although it was a tiring mission, there were some good points. Dino looked at Vega, who was sitting in a sitting posture, with a stern look on his face. The reason why Dino and the others were defending this place was because Vega had ordered them to do so. Vega said to them, "Listen, boys. I'm here to take away the power of this labyrinth. It seems that the connection is lost as you move through the levels, so I'm going to try to set it up while you guys are defeating the boss. It was an idea that he did not think would succeed, but Vega would not listen to them if he denied it before trying it. So everyone agreed to it, though reluctantly, or rather, they were forced to agree to it. The difficulty this time was mainly Vega's fault. So Dino did not even try to hide his displeasure and spoke to Vega. "Hey, how's it going?" "Yeah." Vega opens his eyes dimly. "So?" Vega stands up as if stretching out. "I figured one thing out. My power is still no good against inorganic things." Dino's anger is growing at Vega's blithely stating such thing. Oh? Does that mean our efforts were in vain? It was true that they had worked for 3 hours, though they had not tried hard. It was hard work for Dino, and he should have the right to complain about it. Not caring about Dino's irritation, Vega continued his explanation. Different levels of the labyrinths lose their right to control the magical bacteria, which means that each level of the labyrinth is a different level of the labyrinth. So, if I cover the labyrinth with my power as soon as we enter the labyrinth, all the people in the labyrinth will become my food. Isn't that a good idea? Vega was not listening to others and thinking only for his own convenience. It was good that he was so positive, but he had no consideration for his fellow Dino and his friends. Dino was angry at Vega, but he put up with it. He was angry with Vega, but Dino put up with him because Vega's opinion had some points that he needed to hear. I see. Let me ask you something, if we cover it with your germs, is it possible to teleport directly to the inside of it? Oh? That's impossible, of course it's impossible. Vega confidently answers Dino's question. Mai gave her endorsement to Vega's question. As Vega said, I think it is difficult. Because the inside of an organism's body is hard to read the coordinates by itself. Coordinates are difficult to calculate inside a space that is constantly changing. Mai explained that it would be difficult to jump from the inside to the outside, but not vice versa. Hearing this, Dino smiles. It's great that we can avoid surprise attacks from those who are in our way, even if the monster we defeated will be your bait. It might even prevent the enemy from escaping, which has other advantages. Again, Dino is not a fool. If it makes his life easier, he will find the right answer with a high degree of certainty. If they feed him more food here, Vega will create evil dragon spawn, as he has more energy to spare. Then, Dino and the others would have an easy time.